What's up, everybody? Thanks for putting up with my audio issues here, but we're back. We got it. Hopefully this works okay. And yeah, welcome to the Shred Spot. Welcome to our first ever YouTube live stream. Some of you have jumped over from Twitch, and I super appreciate you being here. But yeah, here we go. Okay, much better. Perfect. Yeah, the lag here is definitely a little bit different because it's, I don't know, I feel like I was used to the Twitch delay a little bit, where here it's a little bit different. I want to show you guys, before we get started, the newest build that we got. This is the Inspired Arcade, and I made just a little change with this. I don't know if you guys can see, but I did an orange set of deity bars and orange grips, and I got pretty close to the same exact color on the bike. The handlebars that came with it were actually these 50 mil bars, and well, I just wanted to run the actual 80 mil that you're supposed to run with this bike. And I haven't really ridden this bike yet, so we could probably play with this a little bit if we want today. I brought my mountain bike. We could do some mountain bike stuff. We could pretty much do anything we wanted. So yeah. I'm pretty excited about this bike, actually. I got all this information from Inspired directly about it to kind of inform the video for it, and I learned a lot in the process. But everything on this bike is like pretty much perfected at this stage, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, like even putting this rear wheel on, there's like no extra room when it comes down to the actual chain tensioner here. It's just like perfectly fit in there, which actually, even when it was untensioned without this, it was pretty much, you could have ridden it just fine. So yeah, they've like dialed this thing in crazy. TMS. One second, I'll grab it. I actually got this thing from Amazon today that was it's like a little bike rack, because we've got so many bikes in here now from all the bike tests. Let me grab it. Here you go. Here's the TMS. So actually what was interesting, I mean, I just rolled around in the parking lot with the TMS, but this frame geometry feels a lot different than the Inspired. And there's like a couple different things, like the wheelbase on this is 20 mil shorter. The chainstays are slightly shorter. The bottom bracket's actually higher on the Arcade. I don't know, it just feels like a totally different bike, whereas the Arcade, there was just something kind of familiar about it, which, I don't know, I thought it was kind of interesting. So, yeah. But this is that. The basic difference between the two bikes, I want to say it's about a half pound, maybe not even a quarter pound difference between the weight between these two bikes, which is pretty crazy, especially considering the Arcade actually has like BMX style cranks to it. So Ross, I think Makuto's head would just explode at this point, especially when he sees the bike rack. I wonder if I can make this, try to see if I can make this a little bit bigger. J-Bank, the difference in price between these two, the Silex is $2,800 and the Arcade is $2,650. Yeah, so they're actually pretty close in price. And the The one thing that's different, like the main difference between the two bikes in terms of spec, is that you actually get a free hub on this wheel, and then the arcade is actually a free wheel. So the team model of the arcade probably has the upgraded wheels where you've got that, and that bike is, I think it's like $3,200 or something. Okay, all right. Here's the. Hold on one second. Okay, ready? Here goes. I'm hitting enter right now. I feel like there's a pretty hectic delay on here. But otherwise, yeah, most of the parts are about the same. The arcade is 26 pounds. I remeasured the foreplay yesterday, and it's 24 pounds, or just under 24 pounds. So, yeah, the arcade though, they were telling me that the arcade actually inspired a lot of the geometry on the foreplay. So the foreplay's geometry, they used to have a longer chainstay on it, and it was one of the things that they like tightened things up and shortened it and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know, pretty interesting to see the difference. And then we've got the extension pots, but I haven't put that bike together yet. So I just have kind of the frame. But I think of the three, I mean, this raw coating here on this bike looks really sick in person. If this bike had the cranks from the Inspired, I think it'd probably be about perfect. But yeah, I don't know. I think this has a much shorter stem than the Inspired as well. So they definitely have different feels when you're on the bikes. And I think, I was saying to somebody yesterday, I'm like, I don't know if I'm actually good enough to put this bike to the test, because I think it's meant to be tail whipped and bar spun, which definitely not my strong suit. So nice, Ross. So we could do all kinds of things depending on what everybody wants to do. We could do some mountain bike stuff. We could ride the arcade. We could have a little session on the arcade. I haven't actually even tested it yet, so might be an interesting / fun thing to do. I don't know if the TMS I don't think really fit in this place, but I feel like the arcade actually rode better as a trials bike. I don't know, kind of different. But I can put the Inspired arcade and foreplay next to each other too if you want. Hold on. Let me find a clever way to do it. I haven't set up my bike rack yet, so otherwise that would make things way easier. Oh, you know what I could do is, what if we make it easy to go like hold one up next to the other? See how this goes. All right. I'm definitely muting the mic before I start moving anything around. First thing that stands out, both colors, so sick. Like Inspired, they're just doing something right. I don't know. I really dig the colors. These new Inspired Pro pedals actually look really, really nice too. Like, just, yeah, everything about the spec on this bike is pretty spot on. Honestly, like, I don't really know if you would need the team spec on here. I mean, your wheels, you could probably just upgrade the wheels on your own. And then I already upgraded the handlebar. Pretty much everything else, like, I don't know what more there is to really improve other than the wheels, you know? Byberg, you should go to trialsuperstore.com because they're the people that sent me all these bikes to test, and they've got a ton of them. But they're here in the States. They're in Arizona, and they're super solid. If you're not in the States, I'd probably go to Tardy Bikes in the UK. Yeah, MT7's on all these bikes. The Inspired came with these HC3 levers that I like, the ones that have the little adjustment on it right here. But the TMS just came with the regular straight levers. Yeah. I don't know what the difference is gonna be. Just like putting them next to each other here. I know that the head angle is gonna be a little bit. There we go. Almost feels like roughly the same. We're gonna have to put the numbers next to each other because it looks pretty similar. I know the head angle on here is definitely a bit more slacked out, but yeah. And the bottom bracket on this bike is actually higher than this bike. But other than that, it was just interesting because when I got on this bike, it felt more like a trials bike than I was expecting it to. Like I thought the TMS was gonna have so much more of a or after riding the TMS, I thought this was going to feel like a giant BMX bike, and it didn't necessarily end up being the case. Martin, I would say probably. I still think the hex for a taller rider is going to be the move. Like a 24-inch bike is great. You could make this work if you were taller, but yeah. Karis says give it a shot once, see what happens. We don't have anything like turned on to pause anything, so let's find out. I'm gonna do just a little session on this arcade if everybody's good with it. What's good, David? Thanks for being here. I'm really excited to ride that TMS too. I'm excited to ride all these, and I'm just hoping I can get it in before all the rain starts in Portland because I wanted to take it to like a concrete skate park and go to a couple other places that are I don't know, like a little bit more like street and park style, but. Let's see. All right. Let's actually ride this bike and see. I'm not sure how broken in the brakes are going to be, but it'll be an adventure. Let me just move a few quick things. Helmet in here. Okay. I'm gonna mute the mic real quick so I can move a bunch of boxes around. I'll be right back. There we go. All right, box is moved. Let's test this bike out and see what's up. I'm honestly, I got to do like one little manual in the parking lot yesterday after thanks RC Norway. I got to do a manual in the parking lot yesterday for like 2 seconds, and that was it so far on this bike. So I'm super curious just to see how everything goes. Also, the purpose for why we do the live stream videos and why we've done them so far, like we did them on Twitch for the last year and a half or so, and the reason why we're switching over to YouTube now is just to try to help everybody out. So if there's anybody that has questions on stuff that you actually want to learn, please call it out and we can go through it. Like there's enough people also in the chat that are down to help, but yeah, we're all here to kind of assist. Okay, yeah, here we go. Terraces, I can't see any links. I'm not sure. Nothing's showing up for me. Okay, proper test here. Yeah, this bike feels, it might just be the handlebar and stem, but it just feels a bit more trialsy than I thought it was going to feel. And I think the gear ratio is a bit lighter, where the TMS was like a BMX gear ratio. I want to check one quick thing. This actually feels like a really, really, really good. I truly thought it was going to feel like a BMX bike. Almost feels like I'm sure there's got to be a setting that I can fix that would change that, though. I'm going to grab one extra thing. I'm sure there's got to be a way to turn off the censorship or whatever. I just this is obviously our first time going through all this stuff. If I could just turn off the autofocus. Let me try something real quick. Huh. Oh yeah, you're probably right, huh? Alright, let's try that. See if that works. David, that's awesome. If you're coming from a mod background, like if you came from a BMX background, the Silex would probably be a good fit. I think the arcade is probably better if you're coming from a trials background. I don't know, like so far this one just feels a bit better, but maybe it's the stem, I don't know. Yeah, it's I think it's slightly a bit more. It's challenging too because the text in here is actually way harder to read. Oh, David, you'll be fine with the TMS then in that case. If you've got a good BMX background, it feels like a BMX bike on the first ride. Or this one definitely feels more trialsy. Or I should say, maybe more appropriately, Maybe more appropriately, I feel more comfortable on this bike right out of the gate than I did on the other one. I think there is a mode for different latencies in here. It's all a learning experience, right? I'm using a new camera. We tried a new mic. We're doing all the things differently. That new tire sound. That's pretty good. Yeah, yeah. There's a. I'm actually really blown away by this bike. It almost feels like the Hex in a lot of ways, in terms of the space that I have on the bike. What's good, Moss? Stoked to see you here. It's yeah, this bike is really kind of. This is my favorite favorite one so far. This is doing it. I'm not feeling any of the extra weight. Not that it's extra heavy, but it's only like 2 pounds heavier than the 4Play, but I think this bike ride's way better. It's interesting. I did not expect this bike to ride this way, but it is the highest bottom bracket of all their 24-inch bikes. It almost makes me feel like, what are they doing with the 4Play? Yeah. Well, I don't know if I can switch this delay on the fly or not. Let me have a quick peek. Because there's a, let's see what we can do here. Well, maybe there's a stream setting here. I have it set on normal, so we could try to fix that one on the next stream. Okay, well, we'll fix it. Oh, What's good, Matt? Matt, I'm on the Inspired Arcade, and it's kind of blowing my mind right now. The TMS is over here. You could ride it for a bit and try it out. The main difference is that the TMS has a completely different gear ratio. It feels way heavier than the Inspired Arcade. I'm not 100% sure. I think this is a 2218, and the other one is an 1813. So it's a way smaller chainring, but also the gear ratio is a bit higher. So it doesn't actually feel like a trials bike. Although that said, I could take it to the skate park and have a way better time with it because I'll actually be able to pedal up to speed. But yeah, it just has a totally different. I could rotate these bars forward just a little bit. I'm probably not doing myself any favors with the handlebars being rocked back on the short stem. I think I shortened this bike maybe a little bit too much by doing that. But the gear ratio, it just makes it feel like a completely different bike. It does feel like a BMX bike set up like this. But yeah, I think I've got to rotate this bar forward. That must be what I'm doing right on this. Yeah, I think I need to do that. I think I could probably, yeah, you could definitely change your gear ratio on here. You probably have an easier time changing the gear ratio on here, or just getting used to it. It's not that much heavier, but it's heavy enough that you'd be like, oh. But for riding street and skate park and getting enough speed to bunny hop, your legs aren't going like this trying to get up to speed, which is also kind of nice. Yeah, I'm going to rotate this bar forward. I think that'll make a big difference. But yeah, the Silex, I mean, it's a really great looking bike, and actually the spec that they put on the bike is really impressive. What they were able to kind of get on here, like this free hub on the back here, just so nice. All the parts, all the spec on this bike, pretty dialed in. Versus the, yeah, I don't know, like these bikes are the Inspired Arcade and the TMS. I mean, really, the choice to go with a different gear ratio is really the main thing, and then the short front end on this bike with the shorter stem. I mean, it's definitely set up more BMX style, but you can clearly do trial stuff on it. Let me just tweak this real quick. Shouldn't take more than a second. Well, it's gonna take an extra second now that we got the torque wrench. Let me see. Yeah, I think I rotated this one way too far back. It's been a lot of bike builds the last week or so, just trying to get all these bikes together, and I feel like I'm kind of pushing against the against Mother Nature a little bit, because I know that the rain in the Northwest is going to start soon, and so I'm just trying to get all these bikes built so that I can actually get out and ride them on street and not have to be fighting rain. Although for street riding, bunny hops and manuals and stuff, I guess it could be raining. And I've got a GoPro to film with, so that's waterproof. So maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's not that big of a deal. It would be miserable to have to film in like downpour, but be a good test. Yeah, I think maybe, gosh, how far forward do I want to go here? I don't want to go like Jack Carthy style, but I think this might be better. I think this is gonna work. What's good, Trevor? I would assume that this bike G-turns extremely well. I don't think I have enough room in this place to learn it or to do it, but guarantee it can be done on this bicycle. I think that's gonna be... Ooh, I'm off just a little bit. Oh man, Dabble, it's been very dry here. It's like crazy dry. In fact, there's a big fire going on right now, and the air quality here, I think it was like the worst air quality in the world yesterday in Portland, Oregon. I think we took the title. But it gets like not terribly cold here in the it's just kind of like miserable cold. It'll snow like once a year, but not until like late winter, like early in the year type thing. I mean, it's not bad, but that was a big reason why I got the shred spot in the first place. This warehouse came about because I was trying to film videos and put videos out every week, and I was having to dodge rain. I was having to dodge, you know, all kinds of different things. And oh man, I did it again. I was having to dodge so much to try to like stay consistent, and it just, I don't know. It was really difficult, and I found a cheap warehouse that I could build boxes in and build all kinds of obstacles, and yeah, I don't know. Jasper, you know what I should do? I should just come over to Australia for the American winter, and then come back here for American summer. I just endless summer this whole thing, you know? Christopher. That's awesome. That's awesome. 7 types of rain. I'm going to use that one. I'm definitely going to use that for Portland. That's pretty funny. Oh, UK, what's good? I actually sold the UK or the clean carbon to my friend Peter. You know, the thing is, I was this, I don't know, this is like my mental thing with all of the carbon bikes, is that I'm always afraid I'm gonna trash the bike and then it's gonna be worthless within like a matter of 2 or 3 rides. And so always in the back of my head, I'm watching out for the bike and trying not to break the bike or to smash the carbon or whatever. And I just can't handle owning carbon bikes, especially that bike for what it costs. I mean, that bike was $4,000, and just having that in the back of your head all the time is not a healthy way to ride. So I got rid of it. I sold it to my buddy, and he appears to be really happy with it. So I actually haven't had a chance to ride with him yet. Okay, we're gonna torque wrench this to make sure we got it right. Set just right. This thing is way slicker than I think I needed, but it beeps at you when you hit your torque. It's crazy. If I can get... I definitely realized after using this that I was not tightening my stuff nearly as much as I should. And I think that was a big realization, that like what I thought was tight versus what actually is tight is a large gap. There we go. There's that. Nearly there. Haha. This thing is amazing. Oh yeah, if anybody's on this in the chat now and you're not in our Discord channel, there's a link in the description here, and actually in the description of I think every single video I've put out so far. It's a great, like, super solid crew of people. You should definitely join us. Okay, there we go. J-Bank, it's the dentist torque wrench. There we go. There we go. All right. Now let's try this. I think I'm curious to see what this is gonna feel like, actually. Better. Definitely better. Actually, I may have moved it a little bit too far forward now. Dang it. I may have gone 2 trials with it. I'm gonna grab one more thing. Hold on, I'm gonna put this on mute. So. There we go. All right. The one thing about putting bikes together, it's just, is there like a gosh, I'm just so nervous to, easier than welding to fix a what's good, Deegan? Easier than welding to fix carbon? That would be a huge unlock for me if I learned how to do that. Just a mental unlock more than anything, you know. Joshua, this is our first ever live stream, so I'm happy to do it. I'm excited to try it out, you know? See what it's like. It's a good way to, it's also just a good way to just kind of add extra knowledge to all the tutorials that we do on the channel. Like, you can watch a 10-minute video and learn most of this stuff, but if you have questions, this is definitely the place to bring them, because we can just address it right there on the spot to say, like, okay, well, here's even more information about the thing. What's good, Taro? Our second Finnish homie. We got Ross Klott. I'm not sure he's here today, but that's awesome. Seems like there's a bit of a scene there. I think I'm just, well, we'll see. We'll see. We were doing live streams every Tuesday and Thursday on Twitch, and we'll just see how today goes, and then maybe we'll come back and just do all the Tuesdays and Thursdays on YouTube instead. Seems like we got a couple bugs to work out, some kinks here and there, but I think we can, I don't know, if it goes well, we'll be that. If it doesn't go well, then we'll go back to Twitch and keep on the, but either way, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm in this warehouse at, well, I get here at like 5:30 in the morning, and and then I, yeah, ride and do this. Miguel, I think actually the Canyon for the price is pretty good. The extension Avenger is pretty much the exact same price, and the spec on the Canyon is actually higher. So yeah, I think it's probably worth it. Yeah. I mean, Dabble, I feel like YouTube is probably the best case scenario for, you know, everybody's already sort of here. I'm so curious to see, yeah, like what it looks like on the back end and all that stuff. But just in terms of like, you know, the data and how it actually works, and if we can optimize a few things. The one thing that's the hardest bit for me is I haven't figured out how to zoom in on the text. So I'm like, you know, when we do our other OBS streams, I can actually zoom in and see from like across the warehouse what everybody's typing. David, no worries. I'm working with Sean from with the shop over there, and we're trying to do like a UK run. All right, let's see here. Bike honestly feels so much better than I thought it was going to. I'm not sure what it was about the TMS, but I was just kind of bracing for all the bikes to have a super BMX feel to them, and yeah, it's actually like, I really like this bike. Yeah, there's definitely this has definitely been a learning experience for sure. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna push this back out of the way. Right, there we go. Let's wonder how, the thing that's tripping me out, like this bike, the bottom bracket is higher than the other bikes we've been riding, so it actually feels more trial-y than BMX-y, which is kind of blowing my mind a little bit. I really thought it was going to be the other way around. Can I do that too? No. Should we get up on the front wheel? I haven't actually even tried to front hop this bike yet. Not bad. I kind of wonder how high I can side hop this bike now. With that higher bottom bracket too, it just, I think I could probably give this a quick try. Iceman, it depends, but probably like it depends on if you're yanking up on the bars instead of rolling your feet out to like balance it this way, then yes.
probably sort of normal, but as your technique smooths out a little bit, it probably will, whatever. But also for several hours, yeah, that would do it to me at least. Also, I mean, even now when I do lots and lots and lots, like there's like a 3-foot box back there, and I bunny hopped that for like a full session, and the next day I was just a mess. So some of that stuff, like if you keep hammering one trick over and over and over again for a super long time, your body's just gonna be like, yo. Scared. I got super scared. I'm not sure why. I feel like I could jump this pretty high. It's definitely different geometry. Thanks, Joshua. Appreciate it, man. Pivot on the back wheel. Yes, Bjorn, let's do it, man. Hold on. Let me move some stuff out of the way and let's do some pivots. This is 100% of the reason why we do live streams, so we can talk about this stuff live and walk you through all of it. So perfect. Let me move this stuff out of the way. I'm going to mute real quick so it doesn't blow out the audio. Okay, I got a little bit more room to work now. Maybe not perfect, but we'll work. Okay, so let's see here. Also, hey, I think other than HS Palm, we've got our second. Okay, so endo 180 turn. Okay, perfect. Reverting back to normal where you pivot on the back wheel. So just help me understand too. Are you talking about like a full 180 on the back wheel? Like, are we talking about? Sorry, new bike. Is that what we're talking about, or are we talking about a less aggressive front wheel? There we go. So yeah, if you're talking about like a full 180 to pivot out, the best thing that I can say is the more vertical you get when you're doing that move, the easier it's going to be to spin around. So if you stand with your bike here and you think about how quickly it spins this way, instead of if you have your bike out like this and how hard it is to get it to move, there's a massive difference in terms of how easy it is to spin, right? So how easy it is how steep you can get when you're doing the turn. And so think about how vertical you're actually getting as you're doing it. And then try also to carry the momentum from that first 180 and carry that kind of force with you, as opposed to doing like 180, stop, lose all your momentum, and then pull it back around. The other thing that works really well, so if you cut out the first pivot and you want to just work on a back wheel pivot, you could think about it like this. And actually, you could start just simply on the ground, and I twist my front wheel away from the direction I want to go, and I kind of crank my body this way, And then I look over my shoulder and I lean back. And when I lean back, it helps me bring the bike up and around. And you could just start slowly with just like a little one. Well, okay, that wasn't really little, but you know what I mean. You get this feeling for what it's like to crank this way and then to kind of like let it go that way. That makes a big difference when you start to do it. And sometimes when you're doing the 180 into that, it can almost throw you off because you're carrying too much momentum or your body's moving in one direction. And so I would say like break it down into the two parts and then put it back together. But if you can do it from flat ground, even just a little bit, then you add the momentum in and you can control that momentum, you're gonna be in great shape. So just think about kind of winding your body up like this. Room to play. Hopefully that helps. Yeah. Yeah. Smooth concrete or on gravel are the two best places to actually practice this too, because you won't have any resistance. So if you're doing it on like a on asphalt, you could do it that way too, right? Where it's gonna grip. It'll grip more on your wheel and it'll slow you down. So you could pump your tires up. You could do it on asphalt, or sorry, you could pump your tires up. You could do it on gravel. You could do it on a really smooth concrete floor. And yeah, all those. Joshua, I've got my mountain bike here actually. And we can teach pretty much the same stuff on any bike. And I think that's like one of the main things with the channel that I always try to do. This bike feels gigantic right now. But yeah, Bjorn, I think just practicing that wind up like this and then the turn, that will make a big difference in a super positive way. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I mean, truthfully, like that's what we're trying to do here is just teach as much of this stuff and give more context to it. What's good, Sylvester? But yeah, you can do the same thing on a mountain bike. You don't need a special bike to do it. Oh, I've got a slightly too large of a gear. Maybe I went too light now. Oh, now we're stuck to the pedal. Sweet. J-Bank, have a good one, man. We'll see you Tuesday. I think a dual suspension bike is, yeah, it's definitely a fair bit different, but you can learn so many of the same skills on a full suspension bike and then transfer it into your actual mountain bike riding, you know? Yeah. Sylvester, did you see the TMS unboxing? We got the TMS and the arcade built up now too. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't really excited about this arcade. Like, more excited than I thought I was going to be honest. Spike. Yeah, same here. Let's try that again, maybe. Yeah, Sylvester, we're gonna have this inspired video up next week, and yeah, I can't wait. I'm hoping this weekend I get to fire out some stuff, but we'll see if the weather cooperates. I really want to take that TMS to a skate park and just throw down there, because that's where it seems like it's going to be good. I've ridden skate parks on other street trials bikes, but they always have such long stems, and the TMS has a short stem, and it has a higher gear ratio, so it feels like it's kind of primed for a skate park session, where the other ones get a little wonky when you're dropping in and stuff. Let me try to tap again. It's landed in the workbench. Sure. So here, let's move this into place. Christopher, what foot forward do you ride with? Are you right foot or left foot forward? Let me see, I'm gonna push this back in. I'm super pumped on this arcade. Oh man. So if you're falling to one side, the first thing I would do is probably go back to something that's a little bit shorter, because it's going to minimize the problem a little bit. So find something curb height or something, because the steeper you get, the more advanced the whole thing gets. Oh, interesting. I think my camera battery might die. I thought it was plugged in, but I'm not sure what's happening here. So if for some reason it blacks out, I'll fix it up. Let's get the run. Hopefully I said that right. But I would start something a little bit less steep. Like this. That way you can really focus in on hopping. And start practicing hopping like both ways. So right, and then left. Yeah, I'm right foot forward too. So I think the biggest thing you could probably do, and the reason why you're falling to the left is that your right foot is pushing on that, and your feet aren't even, and so you're kind of tipping toward that back foot. You're putting too much pressure on your back foot. And so that's a big reason for it. But the way to practice against that is to get on something lower and then start hopping to the right and hopping to the left and getting that back and forth more confident. And that's the whole point of hopping in the first place, is just to put the bike back underneath your balance point. So that's my best recommendation to just get started. Find something that's not as steep as you would normally ride it onto, that you would have that kind of problem, and just go back and forth. Martin, this arcade feels about as good as the Hex, if not maybe just a little bit better, but I'm really curious to take it outside and ride it. But yeah, this back and forth. The other thing is, like, you can scoot yourself forward a little bit or back a little bit and kind of rest by putting your pedal on the actual obstacle like that. And then kind of pop up, work on hopping. And I just go like back and forth. Yeah, that pressure makes a big difference. And then also just getting confident replacing the bike underneath your balance point will make a huge, huge difference. That's what I would suggest. bike. So Adam, I would say like when you first start getting that move down, it's really just getting confident with it, and then you can start to apply it at different gear ratios as soon as you're comfortable. But so much of like when we teach the pedal kick, it's all about just getting the motion between the pedals and your body weight locked in, and then as soon as you have that, you can kind of start to mess with it in terms of like going a little bit steeper. The only thing that can get dangerous is if you go into too high of a gear and you don't do the pedal kick, you can flip over the bars because the pedals basically stop and whatever. So you'll have to use your own discretion depending on what the climb is. But I think the fact that you're getting it and getting the pedal kicks like really rolling and using them for technical stuff is awesome. Because really, like, regardless of what the gear ratio is, it's about putting your weight behind the bottom bracket, pushing on the pedals and unweighting that front wheel. So almost like to put it in that gear makes the most sense to learn, but then once you've kind of got that figured out, because a lot of people will try to smash the pedals, but they'll be way over the front wheel or in front of the bottom bracket, and that's the main issue that we're trying to get people kind of around. So hopefully that kind of helps. Jacob, definitely the MT7s. So the HC3 also is just this lever right here, and this adjustment right here is a game changer for the quality of an MT7. Massive, massive difference. If you're gonna ride actual trials with it. If you're just riding street and you only need it to feather the brakes, it's probably not as big of a deal. But if you're riding lots of trial stuff where it's like, stop, I need to stay like locked in because I'm stopping in place, then you want to probably have like an MT7s. Tio, this bike is 2650 as it's currently built. This is the pro spec, and the team spec is, I want to say, like 3000. But yeah, there's a lot of bikes like between this and whatever. Yes, Coley King. I would say, yeah, there's so many good street trials bikes. There's actually the Silex, there's a bunch of different models of it too. Like I have one of the top end ones, but there's a ton of different ones of that. If you want to just go entry level, the Extension's a decent place to start. Inspired, kind of always the go-to for most people. What's good, Girthinator? Adam, the water brakes are working pretty well, actually. It's still holding up. Man, I got a lot of comments about those. So many comments, but yeah, they still work. I would ride on this stream with it, but it's extremely loud. It would blow everybody's ears out if I started grabbing those brakes. This bike took absolutely no effort to get used to. It is. Yeah, Dabble. Yeah, the water brakes, I got a lot of comments about it. We got a lot of comments, but it was worth it. Oh, the standing 272, it's like, it's easier to do than it looks. It looks so scary because you're spinning and you're going backwards, like you're going against your shoulders, like backwards off, which feels like the scariest possible thing. But for some reason, it always comes around. My biggest fear when I first started doing it was I was going to hook my front wheel on the way back down, but thankfully have never had that problem. So yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. Awesome. Well, gang, I think we did it. I think we had our first official YouTube live stream. Thank you all for being here, and thanks for the questions. Hopefully we were able to help some people out. That's kind of the goal of doing the live streams, is to, you know, just give more context and more information on the videos and stuff. And can I do a 360? Oh, like a bar spin? I have not. I just got this bike built up yesterday, so I'm probably not going to try to bunny hop bar spin just yet. But you could do it on this bike, yes. And you could do it on the Silex that we were riding earlier. But I'm gonna jump. But thank you guys so much for being here and for hanging out on our YouTube live stream. And we'll go again Tuesday as long as everybody's down for it. So have a great weekend, and yeah. Oh, and don't forget to watch Red Bull Rampage, because it's on this weekend and it's probably gonna be really gnarly.